What is up, everybody? We are on day 204 of our Bible in a Year series, continuing in the book of Isaiah. Today, Isaiah 7 is where we are starting at. Now, I will throw out there, I talked a little bit about this already, but the book of Isaiah is deeply a prophetic book. This is the words from God coming through his mouthpiece, which was the prophet of the time, which was Isaiah. And there are things that may sound strange or out of place because they're prophetic in nature, which may mean that it is not exactly like word for word literal of what's going to happen. So like we see in Revelation, there's Revelation is it's apocryphal, but it's also prophetic. But we see it talks about a beast rising out of the ocean that has like I don't know, 7 horns, and I'm not 100% familiar with Revelation. I've not spent a ton of time there, but you'll see when we get there too. But the purpose is to be a prophecy. It's to tell what's going to happen, so people can be aware, but also gives validity to God and to the prophet of God. But we're going to see a few different things today in what we're going to read, and let's jump straight into it. Isaiah 7. This took place during the reign of Ahaz, son of Jotham, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, Aram's king, Rezin, and Israel's king, Pekah, son of Remaliah, went to fight against Jerusalem, but they were not able to conquer it. When it became known to the house of David that Aram had occupied Ephraim, the heart of Ahaz and the hearts of his people trembled like trees of a forest shaking in the wind. The Lord said to Isaiah, "Go out with your son, Jeshub, and meet Ahaz at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, by the road to the launderer's field. Say to him, 'Calm down and be quiet. Don't be afraid or cowardly because of these 2 smoldering sticks. The fierce anger of Rezin and Aram and the son of Remaliah, for Aram along with Ephraim and the son of Remaliah has plotted armor against you. They say, let's go up against Judah, terrorize it, and conquer it for ourselves. Then we can install Tabeel's son as a king in it.' This is what the Lord God says. If it will not happen, it will not occur. The chief city of Aram is Damascus. The chief of Damascus is Rezin. Within 65 years, Ephraim will be too shattered to be a people. The chief city of Ephraim is Samaria, and the chief of Samaria is the son of Remaliah. If you do not stand firm in your faith, then you will not stand at all." Then the Lord spoke again to Ahaz, "Ask for a sign for the Lord your God, from the Lord your God. It can be as deep as Sheol or as high as heaven." But Ahaz replied, "I will not ask, I will not test the Lord." Isaiah said, "Listen, house of David, is it not enough for you to try the patience of men? Will you also try the patience of God? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. See, the virgin will conceive, have a son, and name him Immanuel." Does that sound like... Okay. By the time he learns to reject what is bad and choose what is good, he will be eating curds and honey. For before the boy knows to reject what is bad and to choose what is good, the land of the 2 kings you dread will be abandoned. The Lord will bring on you, your people, and your father's house such a time as has never been since Ephraim separated from Judah. He will bring the king of Assyria. On that day the Lord will whistle to flies at the furthest stream of the Nile, and to bees in the land of Assyria. Now, I do want to point out, we will see this as we get into some of these more prophetic books. There are prophecies that can have what we call a dual fulfillment. So it may be fulfilled partially in one sense, and then it'll be fulfilled in full later, or it could be multiple times. Like there's several instances of this, and I mean, depending on what you believe, as far as some like end time stuff, you may think there's even more than what others believe. But as an instance, or as an example, if let's say somebody that is a premillennial. Okay, so they believe their end times view is similar to like what you'd see in the Left Behind books. So they are premillennial. They believe that there is going to be a person who comes about in the end times on the scene. He is going to be the Antichrist, right? But they would also say that was also fulfilled previously by, and they would have several different people that they would say already fulfilled that partially, and then it will be fulfilled in full in the end times when the final Antichrist shows up on the scene. Now, I'm not premillennial. I don't think that is necessarily going to happen. But that's not for this video. That's for another time. But let's continue on in our reading. Verse 19. All of them will come and settle in the steep ravine, in the clefts of the rocks, and in the thorn bushes, and in all the water holes. On that day the Lord will use a razor hired from beyond the Euphrates River, the king of Assyria, to shave the hair on your heads, the hair on your legs, and even your beards. On that day a man will raise a young cow and 2 sheep, and from the abundant milk they give, he will eat curds. For every survivor in the land will eat curds and honey. And on that day, every place where there were 1,000 vines worth 1,000 pieces of silver will become thorns and briars. A man will go there to bat with bow and arrows, because the whole land will be thorns and briars. You will not go to all the hills that were once tilled with a hoe, for fear of the thorns and briars. Those hills will be places for oxen to graze and for sheep to trample. So they're going to get overrun, is what they're saying there. Now, this is talking about an invasion that's going to happen. We did see the previous, he talked about I think it was the bees from Assyria is what he mentioned. This is talking more about a specific invasion that is going to come, that we know historically happened. Chapter 8, sorry. Verse 1. Then the Lord said to me, take a large piece of parchment and write on it with an ordinary pen, Maher Shalal Hashbaz. I have appointed trustworthy witnesses, the priests Uriah and Zechariah, son of Jeberechiah. I was then intimate with the prophetess, and she conceived and gave birth to a son. The Lord said to me, name him Maher Shalal Hashbaz, for before the boy knows how to call father or mother, the wealth of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria will be carried off to the king of Assyria. The Lord spoke to me again, because these people rejected the slowly flowing water of Shiloah and rejoiced with Rezin and the son of Remaliah. The Lord will certainly bring against them the mighty rushing water of the Euphrates River, the king of Assyria in all his glory. It will overflow its channels and spill over all its banks. It will pour into Judah, flood over it, and sweep through, reaching up to the neck, and its flooded banks will fill your entire land. Immanuel. Band together, peoples, and be broken. Pay attention, all you distant lands. Prepare for war and be broken. Prepare for war and be broken. Devise a plan, it will fail. Make a prediction, it will not happen, for God is with us. For this is what the Lord said to me with great power, to keep me from going the way of this people. Do not call everything a conspiracy that these people say is a conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear. Do not be terrified. You are to regard only the Lord of armies as holy. Only he should be feared. Only he should be held in awe. He will be a sanctuary, but for the two houses of Israel he will be a stone to stumble over, and a rock to trip over, and a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Many will stumble over these, they will fall and be broken, they will be snared and captured. Bind up the testimony, seal up the instruction. Among my disciples I will wait for the Lord, who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob. Will wait for him. Here I am with the children the Lord has given me, to be signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of armies, who dwells on Mount Zion. When they say to you, inquire of the mediums and the spiritists, who chirp and mutter, shouldn't a people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? Go to God's instruction and testimony. If they do not speak according to this word, there will be no dawn for them. They will wander through the land, dejected and hungry. When they are famished, they will become enraged and, looking upward, will curse their king and their God. They will look toward the earth and see only distress, darkness, and the gloom of affliction, and they will be driven into thick darkness. Chapter 9. Nevertheless, the gloom of the distressed land will not be like that of the former times when he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the future he will bring honor on the way of the sea to the land east of the Jordan and to Galilee of the nations. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. A light has dawned on those living in the land of darkness. You have enlarged the nation and increased its joy. The people have rejoiced before you as they rejoice at your harvest time, and as they rejoice when dividing spoils. For you have shattered their oppressive yoke, and the rod on their shoulders, and the staff of the oppressors, just as you did on the day of Midian. For every trampling boot of battle and the bloodied garments of war will be burned as fuel for the fire, for a child will be born for us. A son will be given to us, and the government will be on his shoulders. He will be named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. The dominion will be vast, and its prosperity will never end. He will reign on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish and sustain it with justice and righteousness from now on and forever. The zeal of the Lord of armies will accomplish this. Now, does that sound like he's talking about a normal human? No, he's clearly talking about God. This is clearly about Jesus. Verse 8. The Lord sent a message against Jacob. It came against Israel, all the people. Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria will know it. They will say with pride and arrogance, the bricks have fallen, but we will rebuild with cut stones. The sycamores have been cut down, but we will replace them with cedars. The Lord has raised up Rezin's adversaries against him and stirred up his enemies. Aram from the east and Philistia from the west have consumed Israel with open mouths. In all this his anger has not turned away, and his hand is still raised to strike. The people did not turn to him who struck him. They did not seek the Lord of armies. So the Lord cut off Israel's head and tail, palm branch and reed in a single day. The head is the elder, the honored one. The tail is the prophet, the one teaching lies. The leaders of the people mislead them, and those they mislead are swallowed up. Therefore the Lord does not rejoice over Israel's young men, and has no compassion on its fatherless and widows. For everyone is a godless evildoer, and every mouth speaks folly. In all this his anger has not turned away, and his hand is still raised to strike. For wickedness burns like a fire that consumes thorns and briars, and kindles the forest thickets, so that they go up in a column of smoke. The land is scorched by the wrath of the Lord's of armies, and the people are like fuel for the fire. No one has compassion on his brother. They carve meat on the right, but they are still hungry. They have eaten on the left, but they are still not satisfied. Each one eats the flesh of his arm. Manasseh eats Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh. Together both are against Judah. In all this his anger has not turned away, and his hand is still raised to strike. And that is where we are dropping off today for our reading. But we still have some questions to get to. Question 1. Why is the sign of Immanuel in Isaiah 7 significant for both Isaiah's time and the coming of Christ? So this was a looking ahead for the people of Isaiah's time of both a actual, I don't want to say actual person because Jesus was an actual person, of someone being born then, but also a foreshadowing of Jesus. That's where the partial fulfillment. So there's some of that spoke specifically, excuse me, spoke specifically of someone being born then in that time, and then there's elements to which I think I pointed them out, that is more specifically talking about Jesus and when he was born, and that's what the dual fulfillment that I talked about was. Question 2. How did chapters 8 and 9 contrast the outcomes of trusting in God versus relying on human alliances or wisdom? Well, we see, especially in 8, it's talking about the Assyrians coming in, you know, regardless of who you had an alliance with, if God decides, like he did with Israel, if he decides that another nation is going to come in and they're going to take you over and it's going to be as a result of something that you've done, there's no alliance that you're going to have that's going to stop that. Likewise, if you are in good standing with God, there's no alliance that could come against you that's going to stand. It's not bad to try to build up relationships and things like that here in this lifetime. But ultimately, no, God is sovereign. And we should be taking that to him too. There may be people that you are connecting with that you don't need to be connecting with. You're building relationships with that you have no business building relationships with. Question 3. What do the titles given to the child in Isaiah 9:6 reveal about God's character and his plan for his people? So let's go back and look at. This is what I was talking about, and this is talking about Jesus. Let's look at the titles here. For a child will be born for us, a son will be given to us, and the government will be on his shoulders. So, what does that mean? He is going to be lifting up everything. Everything is going to be on him. He will be named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. The dominion will be vast and its prosperity will never end. He will reign on the throne of David and over his kingdom to establish and sustain it with justice and righteousness from now on and forever. The zeal of the Lord of armies will accomplish this. So he's going to reign on the throne of David from now on and forever. That's not talking about a normal person. That is talking about Jesus. Jesus is going to reign on the throne of David forever. It's a kingdom that will have no end. So this has been good. I enjoy Isaiah. It's not one that I've gotten into a ton, but I know there's a lot of connections out to other parts of the Bible, specifically when we see Jesus come onto the scene. Some prophecies about Jesus there. So it's a good book. It's one I definitely want to read more. So it's good that we're getting into it now. But yeah, we'll be back in it tomorrow. We still got a little ways to go in Isaiah. It's a little bit of a bigger book, but it is good. I think we're gonna get a lot out of it. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as all those things help the channel grow. If this has been a blessing to you, you can share it with somebody else. It can be a blessing to them, and word of mouth is the best way that podcasts grow as well. So that can be something that helps this channel as well. Come back every single day. We're going to have more content every single day. Bible reading plan. We're going through the Bible an entire year, different teachings, all kinds of just really great biblical sound stuff like that. So you're not going to want to miss it. Come back, subscribe. Thanks. God bless.